That'd be a nice open. Just like, welcome to the Who So podcast. And Dylan, it's just like, what the fuck is kind of whispering to himself.
Welcome back to the Hoops Temple podcast. Y'all know me, Nathan Schwartz. Join me from New Zealand, a man who's mad at Excel and his ex-girlfriend, Dylan Williamson.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm so cold you might see my breath at certain points in this. That's the conditions I'm dealing with.
And joining us from Sacramento, a usual guy, Mr. Possible Chairs, Aaron Schroeder. How's it going?
Good to see you guys. Dylan, how cold is it in New Zealand?
It's probably not even that cold. I'm probably going to tell it to Nate, who's like shoveling snow off his driveway 8 months out of the year. And he's going to be like, you're pathetic. Okay, it's 11. I'll convert it to freedom units.
I was gonna ask. I'm like, I don't have no idea when Celsius.
Okay, it's like 50 degrees, but my room is on like the opposite side where there's no sun, and so it's probably a little bit lower.
50 is decently cold. It's 94 over here.
I dream of 50 for half the year.
But Nate, you gotta think
sacrificed.
about you got to remember the orientation of the sun that I'm dealing with.
That's true.
Yeah, the orientation of the sun that we deal with is that it's not warming our half of the globe for half the year. That's the orientation of the sun that we deal with. But you know what we do get to deal with, though? Is a very exciting topic today. Something that we've all prepped massively for. And by prepped massively for, I mean I saw a pontoon going for a good price on Facebook Marketplace earlier today, and I went out, test drove it, bought that sucker. So we get to name my pontoon. Gentlemen, what is your favorite, best NBA to pontoon boat names? I'm talking Shaquille Boat Neal, Muggsy Boats, Paulo Boat Caro, Lee Boat James. What do we got?
I kind of like the Lee Boat, like the and then Lee Boat instead of Lee Boat James.
I think either just the boat, but it's spelled all out like BOAT, like goat, or just championship.
Oh, champion like space ship because it's a boat.
Yeah.
Have you considered Magic Yachtzon?
Ooh, that's good. Magic Yachtzon. And I'm a Michigan man, so like, well,
Yeah.
Michigan State man, and so that's nice.
Think about that one. Think about that.
I'm surprised you didn't call it the Sabotis.
I don't think that those work super well. Just like putting in a boat.
Darius Boatland.
Darius Boatland. It's like just a mid-tier NBA player, like explaining to people. It's like, yeah, you're the best player in the Cavs. Okay.
Oh, so I was thinking about this, and I was like, man, there should be someone nicknamed the Pontoon, and like the best I could think of was like, man, Oliver Miller back in the day, just 300 pounds, being the punching bag for Shaq to beat into. That man should have been nicknamed the Pontoon. So I was like, maybe I just name my boat the Oliver Miller.
I know there's like a freshwater vessel, which kind of makes this bad, but you could do Alexei Pokashevsky. Like Alexei.
Okay. Like a
C.
I was going to say Nate sacrificed sunlight for 9 months out of the year for the fact that he does live right on the water.
Oh, yeah. And a very cheap place to live, a very comfortable economic state to be in. You do suffer through the winters, but I don't know. I got a boat really cheap. Still super excited.
The 3 months out of the year where it's warm enough to go in the water, it's going to be.
Ice fishing's a thing, man.
Taking a pontoon out ice fishing.
That will destroy the engine. But all right, that's not what we're here to actually discuss. We are here to discuss the top 100. And Aaron, would you like to explain how we're doing the top 100 since I was absent last year?
Yeah, I was going to say last year Nate missed, I think it's the entire thing. Basically the entire thing. Yeah. For some stupid reason, like the birth of his son. And me and Dylan made a perfect list. There's zero mistakes on that list.
We got to get wild with it, and some of it paid off.
It all paid off. We were never wrong in any points. I just want to say any mistakes that are made this year, we isolated the variable. We know exactly where this is coming from. But the way we did it is all three of us made our top 100s or like 110, kind of put it out there. And the average of these lists is going to be the final product. The goal of this being to discuss the players more than we argue about their placements.
And just for the listeners, this 100% perfect list for last year that I had no part in was number 1, Nikola Jokic, 2, Luka Doncic. Number 1, Nikola Jokic, 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 3, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 5, Joel Embiid, perfect list. 6, Kevin Durant, 7, Jalen Brunson, 8, Tyrese Halliburton. I did give you guys a lot of grief on that one. That very well may have ended up being closer to right than wrong. 9, Steph Curry, 10, Jason Tatum, 11, Victor Wembanyama, Kawhi Leonard at 12, LeBron at 13, Devin Booker at 14, Anthony Edwards at 15. So I'll let the listeners decide just how perfect that was.
Outside of the Embiid injury, I think we were too low on Tatum by a couple spots, and then Embiid turning into just dust, like the worst injury season of his career.
It's a fine list. It's solid. You did all right up top.
It's perfection.
Well, if we want to talk about perfection,
no, don't scroll in now.
Dylan, you want to tell us who's the number 1 player this year?
It's somehow not unanimous, but it is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, Aaron, I want to hear the answer. I want to hear why Jokic is not unanimous.
Okay, it's a couple things. It's interesting. Usually, like when a guy wins MVP and Finals MVP and is like number 1 in EPM and beats the guy that he's in contention for during his championship run, it's like not that hard to figure out who the best player in the world is. And yet we've lost our cognitive functioning. But that's not even where I win with this. The best player in the world is not SGA, and it's not Jokic either. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama in 2026. Guys, you got to get on the train now. The train's leaving the station. The 7'4" guy that's the best defensive player in the league and takes 9 threes a game and is going to get better and better and better and is going to be one of the best scorers in the league this next season as well. Hop on now before it's too late, because these takes are going to look silly.
Jokic was the best player all of last season. Jokic will still be the best player all of this season. The man is a walking triple-double. Average to above average defensively.
Are you out of your fucking mind? That's
no.
Insane. He's whatever you think of Nikola Vucevic defensively, that's for Jokic. That's Sabonis is better defensively. Give me a break, dude.
Jokic is much.
Every single statistic you can find about rim protection paints Jokic as a bad one. He's not good at it. Come on, man.
Sure. Average. He's not a good rim protector. Above
average.
Jokic doesn't jump with guys. He gets his hand on steals. There's a reason why he's top 3 in steal. Well, he's not going to go up and try to block a shot. He's going to poke the ball free down low. So when you tell me he's not good at rim protection.
He's not good at rim protection. I'm just saying, like,
he's not good at rim protection.
He's one of the worst rim protectors at the position you need that from.
Because
I don't mind the offensive takes, but don't tell me that he's above average defensively.
He's bottom 10 defensively among starting centers in the entire NBA, but he is the greatest offensive player in this generation. Single-handedly, if you've got Nikola Jokic, you're making the playoffs. That can't be said about just about anyone else.
Yeah. You know what Shai was doing when he was single-handed? He was faking an injury for half of March and April so that way they could go draft out Alexei Pokusevski.
That was Sam Presti's idea. That was all Sam Presti. You know, it worked out. They won a title. They beat the Nuggets on the way to do it. But yeah, I had Wemby and then SJ and then Jokic.
Yeah, also it took was an Aaron Gordon injury for the Thunder to finally pull away and beat those hamstring Nuggets with Russell Westbrook playing real minutes. Come on.
They respect future Sacramento King Russell Westbrook.
Have you guys not locked that in yet?
Because we have to trade our good players before we get him. Yeah, we're working on it. All right.
You gotta get off Malik Monk's contract in order to sign Russell Westbrook to the minimum.
Your biggest like competitive suitor is Israel.
We're working on it. We're working on things. I think, we have to take one of the best value contracts in the league and dump that first before signing Westbrook and Jonathan Kuminga. All right, I won't derail this.
All right, number 2 on the list. Somehow unanimous when number 1 wasn't unanimous. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Aaron, you're the high man. Talk to us about Shai.
He is 32 points tonight. He's by far the best scorer in basketball. He scored 20 points a game in 70 consecutive games, like close to an NBA record, and again averaged 30 come playoff time. On a team that heavily relied on his scoring, that struggled outside of him to generate offense, was the main offensive focal point on a championship-winning team, one of the best teams of all time, 68 wins and a title. And he's great defensively. He's a very good defensive player.
Yeah. He's a good defensive player surrounded by great defensive players, which makes his defense either look incredible or completely unnecessary, depending on the night. Because Dort's either locking someone up, or it's like, oh god, you go from Dort to Shai. I will say, I think right now, doing a lot of historical stuff, looking back, like the dumbest Jordan GOAT argument is Jordan, or the dumbest anti-Jordan GOAT argument is like Jordan didn't win till he got Pippen. And then you go watch the 91 finals and it's like, oh yeah, Pippen's good, but like Pippen's good in the way Jalen Williams was good this year. This was Jordan, like, absolute 1, 2, and maybe Pippen's number 3. Shai is absolutely number 1, and like we can enjoy some of the Jalen Williams stuff. Like, when he came through for 40 points in the playoffs, like that was a really cool moment. But there were also games where Jalen Williams and Chet just did not show up, and it was 100% Shai and like Alex Caruso. And man, if you're telling me Caruso looks like the second best player on a championship team, the number 1 guy is so good to pull that off.
Do you think it's unprecedented that a player would win MVP and Finals MVP and a championship as the best player, clearly the best player, and not be number 1 in the NBA?
Yeah, guys, have you considered that you're wrong about this? Yes, of course.
I mean, Curry won a unanimous MVP. Although, and like, I think we all still said like, hey, LeBron is still better than Curry. LeBron is still,
Yeah, actually, there is precedent. It's very recently when Steph Curry beat LeBron, and everyone's like, okay, well, LeBron just didn't have a good enough team. He's clearly still the best player, which is the Nikola Jokic argument.
Yeah. See,
I'm not throwing any pity parties. Only winners over here.
And yet, our third pick, somehow, against all miraculous odds, the player coming back from deep vein thrombosis, man who spent a weekend on the mountains with the monks, Victor Wembanyama. Gentlemen, I have him as 6th on my board. I thought that was like going to be the bold hot take. I went out and bought a Victor Wembanyama jersey for my son's first birthday, but also a bit for this pod. I made sure it would arrive in time. And yet I'm the low man? What's going on? What do you expect? Tell me what you think his stat line is going to be this year.
Dylan, you want to take a crack at it first?
What did he average this past year? Like 25, 11, and 4 and 5 stocks? Like, how much more do you need? And in addition to being clearly like significantly above everyone else's defensive player, and will only get better.
I'm going to say
now playing with a real point guard, real teammate.
Yeah, 27, 12, and 5
with 5 stocks and the best defensive player in the NBA.
What do you think is the next step instead of just more production? Do you also see like kind of a more not a paint oriented style, but more dominant scoring around the basket?
Yeah, I mean the way that he takes a step forward, which is obvious and I think expected by both of us, is the shot the shot quality, the shot mix, like where he's taking these shots from, improves to become more efficient. Like you said, a 7'1" guy shooting 9 threes a game, actually more than 7'1", shooting 9 threes a game is absurd. If that becomes 6 threes a game and a few more layups, and all of a sudden the true shooting is like 65%. And you're scoring 27 a game, and you're one of the best rebounders in the game, and you're also the best defensive player in the NBA. And even if we're talking about ways he can improve, like he still made a lot of defensive mistakes last year, and he just had the physical tools that he was able to make up for a lot of them. Another year in the NBA, he's locked in his mind with the Monks. Like his awareness is just going to get even better. And so, like, the defense, I think, is actually... He was already the best defensive player in the NBA, and I think it's going to get better again.
To speak to the shot quality, watching Spurs games, I love Devin Vassell. But, like, can you throw the ball towards the basket to the guy that's 7'4"? Because, like, he's open. You could get some alley-oops. There's like a lot of ways to feed Victor that the Spurs just didn't do. Like Chris Paul occasionally would make this man's life so easy. I'm like, why does it take the 40-year-old guy to do this? And Fox and him only got 5 games together. But between Fox, Castle, and Dylan Harper, I'd watch the first 20 Spurs games this year, and just whoever throws the most alley-oops to Victor gets to be the starting point guard, and the other 2 get put on the trading block. That's how I'm deciding this, is like who gives him the ball going to the basket the most, because it should not be that hard.
And Fox is really good in the pick and roll. That's one of his strengths, certainly. They're just going downhill. Like his threat with his floater and just getting straight to the basket really has quite a bit of gravity to it. And like you have Wembanyama just kind of trailing that. But yeah, certainly. I imagine he's going to be
even higher.
Could have. Where'd you end up with?
I'm the highest person on Fox, but like, You're telling me this man gets to run pick and roll with the 3rd best player?
He did obliterate his hamstring. I don't know if you guys are in on that. He should be maybe healthy to start the season, but it's like a grade 3.
He gets to run pick and roll with the 3rd best player in the league. I'm not too worried about it.
Best player in the league.
Sure.
You guys aren't even taking me seriously.
No.
No, I can.
No, we know you're here for TikTok, and you're just trying to get some clicks.
He's clip farming right now on our podcast.
I'm not even gonna even go forward and say like make a Wembanyama is the best player in the world video. He's 3. We decided on 3. I represent us,
Oh, I was going to post the list, but also all of our takes here.
I would never. I am such an anti-rage baiter. I could never. I should engage in bait more.
Even when it's something you believe, you're still not willing to do it.
I won't do it. Like I'm gonna say, like I put my morals first, and I don't know.
All right, number 4, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I went 3. Aaron, you went 4. Dylan, you put 5. Dave, I thought that was a bit interesting here. But old man Giannis, I kind of think there's a chance that he walks away with the MVP this season. Maybe not as the best player, but he is going to have such an insane workload. And the East is really weak. Aaron's been laughing at me for this through text for a while. But I think there's a chance that the Bucks walk away with 50 wins and Giannis gets the MVP. Just on a pure how weak is the East, and can you pick up like 10 to 15 wins against the West?
You still have to play the Western Conference. Like it's not just like the East over and over again. Like they're gonna be running out like Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Harris, Cole Anthony, Kyle Kuzma. Like that, like that's horrendous. Like, that's so bad.
There are 12 teams in the West that are better than that.
That's okay. If he gets 6 wins against the West, he's doing all right.
I seriously think like this looks like a 40. They look like a 42-win team. But Dylan, I guess I want to hear of the Luka over Giannis case. I do think Giannis at number 3 is consensus right now, and even heading towards number 2 is a little more favorable.
It is one that I struggled with. I think I had a pretty clear top 1 and 2, and then number 3 was obvious as well. And then I like wanted to believe in someone for the 4 spot. In the end, I decided to go with Luka just because I think his offensive floor raising exceeds Giannis's at this point. And I think the defensive argument that there was for Giannis for so long, where he was the best defensive player in the NBA for multiple years, I think he slips every year, and he's only getting older, and he's going to have more work to do this year. And I think last year he was like a minor positive defensively, and this year it's going to be even worse, combined with the fact that he's not at Luka's level offensively. And I value offense more than defense from a primary creator kind of guy.
It is so interesting because I see this on TikTok often, where it's like, oh, Kobe, like his defensive selection, so much of that's on merit and just like his reputation. It's like, yeah, that's probably true for a while. And then we make the same mistake again, like as modern NBA fans, because I see tons of like creators and videos and lists online where Giannis is one of the 10 best defenders in the league. They're like,
oh yeah,
this guy, it's just not true.
Yeah, I saw one from a creator that I like who had Chet not top 10 and had Giannis at number 1. I'm like, dude,
there's a very famous creator that
be brave.
Consistently puts Rudy Gobert outside his top 50 defensive players.
This year?
This year.
Wait, top 50 defensive players?
We've been fighting.
I thought you meant all time, and I was like, I don't know the history of the league that well. That seems ridiculous. But
this season, yeah, he's doing like a top. And like I don't know, and you know what? I'm not gonna hide from it. We fought with Slim Dookie about this. Like I stitched him, and I'm like, I've been respectful about it throughout. But then I saw him doing the series again. It's like still no Gobert,
and he still had Giannis at number 1.
I made a comment. I was like, that you never learn. He was like, and he responded, but it's whatever.
Yeah, that's a terrible take. But I do agree with the idea that Giannis is slipping defensively. I think that there may be a little reversal of this, and it might just be like the shot of Botox to reverse aging, where it's a very temporary fix and it costs him somewhere else. But just the arrival of Miles Turner, the team is going to be faster and more mobile as a whole, which may boost some of Giannis's defensive numbers. Like I love Chris Middleton. He was kind of a shell of himself of last season, and Damian Lillard not. Do I think a shell of Chris Middleton is better than Kyle Kuzma? I didn't, but I certainly do now.
I didn't even have to complete the phrase. He knew.
Yeah, no. But just like having players who can move, players who can shuffle their feet, like. I think that is going to help in some ways. And like Dame was an absolutely horrendous defender his entire time in Milwaukee. Like, not that I expect a ton from Cole Anthony, but like, can you be better than Dame defensively? That's a doable bar. That is a doable thing for Cole.
I didn't even catch that Gary Harris signed with the Bucks. I've been on Orlando Twitter a lot. They hate this guy. Like the amount of Gary Harris get off my team posts I saw is pretty astounding. But I mean, genuinely, yeah, I guess you have some guys that can move, but also like I don't want Kyle Kuzma moving. I don't want if I prefer him stationary to avoid.
He might move, but it
might
not be in the right direction.
Yeah, it's the wrong way. But I could see Turner because to me, Turner is basically what Brook Lopez was, but it's so much better at this point. I know Dylan agrees with that, given he had Turner like 15th or something.
Yeah, I was like, why are you guys hyping up Miles Turner when you've got him like 50 spots lower than me?
Yeah, but still, I agree.
Dylan still has Brook Lopez in the top 100, so you know.
It's absurd. Brook Lopez is a billion years old,
and he was still one of the best rim protectors last year.
Yeah,
he's
it's because he just stands there.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in that when you're that big and you know when to stand there.
He could have. Maybe he taught Kyle Kuzma how to just to stand there. The stationary stuff I was talking about.
Maybe that's what it is. Kyle Kuzma was watching Brook Lopez. He's like, he doesn't do anything. He just kind of stands there under the rim. Maybe I'll do the same thing on the perimeter and it'll work.
Do you think the NBA will allow Kyle Kuzma to play in that pink fuzzy sweater? It's going to hurt him offensively, but I think that the long arms, yeah, if you keep those up, like that's got to have some added defensive impact, right?
We turn Kyle. You go ahead.
Would you rather have Kyle Kuzma with or without the pink fuzzy sweat? Like, if you could make that decision, it's like he can't touch the basketball because his hands aren't outside the sleeves, but maybe that's actually better for you.
Mm-hmm.
That was Doc Rivers' plan in the playoffs.
I'm starting to see the vision here.
Okay, my question: would you rather have Kyle Kuzma with or without pink fluffy sweater, your choice, or one of those wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men?
I mean, the wacky wavy inflatable arm tube men, like I've seen some of those that can be like 20 feet tall. What type of question is that?
The defensive 3-second rule still applies to him, so he's got to be just outside the lane. But
oh well,
who has more defensive value?
Yeah, can I put him on like one of those like dolly carts and have Kyle Kuzma move him forward and backward?
Yeah, we found Kyle Kuzma's role.
I'm looking right now at before we move on to Luka, at the Bucks playoff stats. They played a pretty tough 5-game series against the Pacers. Giannis led the league in scoring and rebounds. Gary Trent, 19 points a night, led the league in steals per game. And then it is horrendous after that. Oh my God. Kevin Porter Jr., 11 points on 40% shooting. Dame, 3 games, shot 22% from the field. Kuzma, 6 points on 34% shooting. Brook Lopez, a top 100 player, 5 points and 1.5 rebounds on 36% shooting.
They got played off the floor by Miles Turner, a top 50 player.
You looped it back around. Can't hate on that.
All right, number 5, Luka Doncic. The new GQ man himself. Aaron, can I just say I absolutely loved your take on TikTok the other day, just being like, yeah, he's always the GQ man in the off season. It's can he be it during the regular season? And I would 100% agree with the idea of like there are a lot of players who, for years it's Ben Simmons is now going to shoot threes during the off season. It's Hoodie Mello is looking absolute fire, despite the fact that we know what he's going to be in Portland this year. And like Slim Luka, cool story for the offseason. Let's see it in the regular season.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made that video too. And using your platform to really get through to people, because I was like literally losing my mind. It's not just like it's not a last couple seasons thing. It's literally every single year of Luka's career, he gets fit in the off season and then he loses it throughout the season because he has no discipline once he starts playing. Like the people are saying this is like a one-time thing, and I'm like, this is every single year. Am I losing my mind? Am I the only one that remembers previous year's existence?
I have heard the take that it's just his diet during the off season, where like he goes back to Europe and then this like, hey, what's going on with U.S. food? Is he just grabbing the late night Taco Bell in America, and then when he's in Europe, he's like, all right, let me have some quinoa or some mussels and some.
He likes beer and hookah. He's gonna get fat. Like you can't avoid that, guys. Like I get it. I appreciate the kind words about the video. That the appreciation means a lot. Yeah, I mean every single season but he's in Dallas, and so it's like an Instagram photo of him working out on his own account, and people are like, hey, like he looks a little bit skinnier than usual. Like, that's pretty cool. But now that you're in LA, now that you play for the Lakers, like you get the Nobel fucking Peace Prize for being in shape as an NBA player. And yeah, I mean, you guys want to take bets on what Luka will weigh by the All-Star break? We'll say Christmas.
Where is the All-Star break this year?
Where is it? I don't know where it is.
Yeah. I feel like it's in...
Let's say like early November. Let's say not Christmas, like the start of December. I want to get right. You had Thanksgiving. You finished all your leftovers.
Luka.
How much does Luka weigh?
Do you think Luka celebrates Thanksgiving?
That's a good question. In LA. I mean, he's gonna go to some party and he's gonna, yeah.
You know what?
Do people have parties at Thanksgiving? Like, isn't that like more of like a strictly family thing? Isn't he just gonna be like at home in his mansion in Calabasas, like
eating just hams by this an entire bone-in hams, just going crazy.
Yeah. Can you imagine his teammates like explaining the concept of Thanksgiving? They're like, yeah, you like cook like a whole turkey, you have like stuffing and mac and cheese, and you just like eat the whole thing until you like you can't move. And he's like, wait, you only do that once a year?
Guys, sounds great. Okay, seriously though, Luka is still like one of the 5 best offensive engines in the league. He's gonna average 30 a night. Just one season ago, he won the scoring title, nearly averaged a triple-double at the same time, took the Mavs to the finals throughout that Western Conference, and even throughout his Lakers tenure, except for in the playoffs. Like, showed improvements defensively, graded out as a better defensive player for a lot of metrics. And so there is something to say about that. It's a weird Lakers roster because they're clearly in transition, trying to shed the geriatric corpse of LeBron, but they have Luka now.
I think the best way that we'll know if this is a good Luka season or not is if this is a good DeAndre Ayton season or not. Like, if Ayton offensively, I can't speak to what his defense is, but if Ayton offensively is giving like 19 to 20-ish points a night, like, that's 100% Luka. That's Luka is finding this man. Luka is making this man's life easy. And I think if Ayton looks like, if people around in January are like, oh my God, Ayton is having a great season, that's how we'll know that Luka is having a great season. Because the rest is just kind of expected for Luka at this point.
We've almost got the proof. The fact that this guy was able to be the best player on a team with a 125 offensive rating when he was on the floor, and his starting center was Jackson Hayes. Like,
yeah,
this is an elite offensive player, even though he's a negative defensively still, and he's going to get fat. He is an elite offensive player, and compared to Wembanyama, we also know that he can carry this through into the playoffs.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I think it's a very easy top 5. I think where things start to get squirrely is right now. I feel like we had a pretty consistent like 6 through 12.
Yeah. Each of us had had 9 of the same 10 in our top 10.
Interesting.
So we're pretty in alignment that way.
All right. Well then, number 6, Anthony Edwards, who I guess you guys just hate America because, I mean, Dylan, you had him at 8, definitely hate America. Aaron, you had him at 6, probably hate America. But with all of these foreigners up top, I at least love my country. As much as I'm disappointed in it time to time, but like Captain America, Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man, Tony Stark, like we've got this is here. I don't know. He keeps playing better and better. He showed massive improvements in his game. And like that 3-point shot came out of nowhere, where he was like the most downhill attacking threat. And then he decided to start pulling 10 threes a game.
He became the best 3-point shooter in the league as well.
Yeah. Just he went from Dwayne Wade to Steph Curry in an off season, and didn't quite balance it out. Didn't have the wherewithal to know when. Also, his team made a massive trade that shook up their entire style, like weeks before the season began. I think this is going to be an absolutely amazing Anthony Edwards season, and if we're projecting forward, MVP buzz could be.
The Wolves would have to be really good. They'd have to be really good for that. But yeah, I mean, Edwards has shown just kind of shocking development. We all sat here and were like, well, if he was more efficient and better shooter, and he was the best shooter in the league last year, and it's all right, super cool. Like, it's great. Like his points per shot attempt, they go way up. I do think you mentioned like going from Wade to Steph, or I forget the exact terminology. Was that it? Was it Wade to Steph?
Yeah, Wade to Steph.
I think the biggest and that problem, yeah, I guess problem is that he's not Wade. He doesn't attack the basket that much. He's not great at finishing around the rim. He seems like he would be, but statistically, he doesn't grade out at all in that area. And so, especially during like the Thunder series where SGA, like you can't even fucking breathe on him and he's getting free throws, and you see that comparison. It's like Edwards takes a ton of jump shots. Like, he doesn't go to the rim. He doesn't initiate contact. He doesn't like draw these free throws. And I think like that's the third level. The 3-point shooting is spectacular. It takes him. We had him around 15 last year. Now he's in the top 10 for all of us. That's the next step.
Yeah, and for context, he was 6.3 free throw attempts per game last year. Shea is 8.8. Giannis 10.6. That's the level that everyone should aspire to.
In the final 2 rounds of the playoffs, he only took 5.8 free throws a game and shot 69% on them.
Dylan, you want to make the case on why he should be even lower?
I think he just has another step to make in terms of a playmaker, in terms of translating that awesome scoring that he possesses into an overall positive effect on the team's offense. And I think there are a couple guys who I had above him. To be clear, I've got him like in the same sort of range. Like I don't feel strongly that he should be a lot lower. But there are a couple guys that I had above him who I think not only have great individual offensive ability, but also elevate their team in a very clear and tangible way. And so I think he's got another step to make in terms of playmaking to go from an elite scorer to an elite offensive player. A lot better of a defensive player than pretty much everyone else around this range. Like the fact that your best player can also, when you need him, switch on to like the best opponent and do a good job, definitely has value. You can't say that about anyone else that we're ranking in this sort of range. But yeah, I think it's just he has another step to go as a playmaker to become an elite offensive player. There are a couple of other guys around this range who just by being on just by being on the court, you're going to have a good offense.
Like our number 7 guy, Jalen Brunson, New York Knicks own. Who wants to take the lead on Brunson?
I feel like this is kind of Dylan's guy, honestly. I will mention most 40-point playoff games in Knicks history already.
Is he a better Knick than Carmelo Anthony, Aaron?
No one could ever be better than Carmelo.
That's the right answer.
I kind of made the case for Brunson in making the case against Anthony Edwards. Jalen Brunson has just become this offensive force that few players in the league are able to get to, where just by him being on the court, you're guaranteed to have an elite offense. That guarantees you a certain floor in the regular season, and it gives you a certain ceiling in the postseason, where we've seen him eventually flame out. But we have seen a lot of really great playoff performances from Jalen Brunson as well. The clutch player of the year, for what that's worth as well. But just a guy who, if he's on the court, you are going to be scoring in the 120s no matter what.
I do expect maybe not a step back as far as talent, but a step back as far as production for Brunson goes this year. And to be fair, I have him ranked 7th, same as you, Dylan. But I think if the Knicks want to be a better team this next year, they have to figure out ways to get more guys involved. And so it wouldn't shock me if we're looking around in February and being like, man, Brunson's only averaging like 23 points or 22 points. And like all of his numbers are kind of down. Instead of 7 assists, it's like, maybe it's still 7, but just overall, he less impact on a per or minutes basis or a per game basis as they try to figure out ways for other guys to be more involved with the offense. And so I'm saying that I don't think it will be a step back talent-wise or any sort of skill-wise, but I do think we will see a step back production-wise from him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the way that's what the Knicks were hoping when they brought in Mike Brown, is that we can't just throw the ball to Jalen Brunson every single possession, even though he is really great and he can get you to a really high level by doing that. Like, we do need to get other guys more involved. And I think in a sort of, Steph Curry-like manner, just Jalen Brunson being on the court makes it easier for everyone else to do stuff, even when he's not involved, because of the attention that he draws and the effect that he can have once he gets the ball.
I think that is a great segue to our next guy, unless Aaron has anything to say about Brunson. Steph Curry.
I'll make just one statement. He is impossibly crafty. He's one of the shorter players, obviously, as a pretty pure point guard, but great first step. Can't see in front of him. Draws contact like crazy. Good enough shooter from basically anywhere on the floor. He is able to carry a ridiculous offensive responsibility. And to go what you guys are saying, that high usage rate, that isolation offense is also what got Tips fired. So I'm interested to see like what the balance is.
Yeah, even if it's just some more pick and roll with him and Cat, or some guard or inner guard play with him and Mikal Bridges. Because Mikal Bridges was terribly misused. Like, I was trying to figure out how to justify him over OG, and I was like, man, he should be over OG, but there's just there's just not a case. Just
Bridges is making Luka money now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Basically, we should mention that with the Luka placement. There was a 3 for $150, the extension with the Lakers. I understand the extension rules and he got traded and blah blah blah, but holy shit, what a steal for Luka Doncic.
165. So he's going to be making 55 a year, give or take. Which, I mean, Chet signed for what, 5 for $250, or was that?
Jaylen Brown's making $61 million a year.
Yeah.
This is unreal. Cat's making that much money.
Yeah, I think trading for players so they don't get their supermax may be the galaxy brain move. That's the light years ahead of like.
Yeah, the key to the NBA is not to draft good players, because you just can't build a good team if you draft a good player.
Yeah,
really excellent CBA.
That's why we took Devin Carter. Way ahead of you
guys. All right. Steph Curry time. Aaron, do you once again want to explain to us why you hate America?
I don't hate America. Steph's going to be 38. Like, I understand is kind of like an ageless wonder in his shooting ability and his gravity, even if like he could be 45 and he still has such a high offensive impact because of that. He is really, we mentioned Edwards as the best shooter in the league. By stats and volume, like, sure, but come on, like, Steph is just kind of still at another level. But on a per game basis, still number one in 3-point attempts, number one in 3-point makes.
And did finish the year with a higher 3-point percentage than Edwards by a slim margin, but he got there at the end.
Did Edwards end up leading it in total, or did Beasley's grab that at the end?
I don't know, but I mean, no one beat out my boy Jokic. Just saying.
1 sec.
41.7%. Talking about of our top 10 guys.
Yeah, he
can't
did.
touch that.
Edwards was so Edwards was number one. He did get that, but yeah, really, it's just like I kind of am taking a step back on some of the older players. Like, they have defied expectations for so long. There is a point though where it's like I definitely would prefer Jalen Brunson and Edwards to 38-year-old Steph.
I do want to say we probably buried the lead here. Our lists are not going to include Jason Tatum, who will not play next season. Will not include Tyrese Halliburton, and will not include Damian Lillard, although not that Lillard would be in this range. Just, I kept looking at it, I was like, am I really going to have some of these older guys still in this top 10, still in this range? And it's like, well, yeah, some of the best young talent is missing this next season. With some of that young talent, Curry, LeBron, Durant, they're all back a few more spots.
To Aaron's point of taking a step back on some of these older guys, as you read out our perfect list from last year, Nate, one thing that I was thinking is that our biggest misses were not being high enough on some of the young guys. we've believed in Halliburton and in Brunson and put them a lot higher than what a lot of people had them, and we're right about that. But we're still too low on Jason Tatum. We're still too low on Wembanyama. And so as we look at this and look at Steph Curry still holding on to the spot, that is one thing that I'm aware of. Although there's not necessarily a young guy who's knocking on this sort of range, I suppose.
You've got a young guy on your board, but neither.
Oh yeah, you guys are idiots who don't watch basketball. Who,
okay, right.
What's the other cliches? You only look at box scores, and watch YouTube reels.
YouTube reels.
Yeah,
I like that. I was gonna say with Steph, his EPM has decreased just on a downward trajectory every single season since 2017. Now you start at a very, very high point. Obviously, we are like up in his
he went from number 1 to number 5.
Essentially, and so he has come down a bit. Where last year he was, instead of the usual 99th percentile, now all of a sudden he's 98th percentile in impact. But who are you talking about? Why are we idiots and only watch YouTube reels?
Dylan has Evan Mobley as his 10th man, but we'll get to him.
Holy crap.
All right. Number 9. Weirdly enough, the second unanimous player selection, Donovan Mitchell. A guy who I think he went through what Anthony Edwards is going to, or not Anthony Edwards, what Jalen Brunson went through this year, or is going to go through this year. Mitchell had a huge step back statistically throughout the regular season as others of his team got to do more. I do kind of still anticipate that to continue. Maybe that trend goes a step further. But the man was 5th in MVP. Why do you think we're also unanimously low on him?
Why are we low on him? I feel like he was.
Top 10's pretty.
Yeah,
well,
great.
First team All NBA, 5th in MVP, and we have him at 9th. With multiple guys who finished worse than him in All NBAs or MVP selections ahead of him.
I have no idea. I don't know. Who's Donovan Mitchell? What are we doing here? I only had good things prepared. Since 2020, he's averaged 30 a night in the playoffs. Like truly one of the greatest scorers of all time. That's why he's top 10. I don't know why I'm low on him.
Because
last year he got those accolades because the Cavs were great. Because the Cavs had a phenomenal record the entire season with the 10th best player in the league, Evan Mobley, right next to him.
Yeah. Like Donovan Mitchell hits Steph Curry levels of offense, with elite teammates, where Steph Curry does it with bad teammates. And the offense stays elite when Donovan Mitchell is not on the floor. And so his ceiling raising maybe isn't to the same extent that Steph Curry or Jalen Brunson's are.
You guys are overlooking this. It's much simpler. He's just not as good as these guys ahead of him. And we have the perfect list. So, boom.
I didn't think about that. I should have gone there.
All right, sake of time, let's keep things rolling. Number 10, Kevin Durant.
I was a low man again. Yeah, I mean, I think Durant's gonna, I still kind of take a step back in the new Houston uniform. And how old is he now? Is he 38 yet? 7 something maybe.
Like I think he's going to be
37. He's 36 right now. He's really close to being 37. So, like 37-year-old Durant, like he's been so great, but I don't know. I think closer to 15 than 5, I guess. Where did you guys have him?
I'm the high man with Durant, and I think.
Okay, I have a problem with this. I have a huge fucking problem with this. Nate told me he would trade Jabari Smith straight up for Kevin Durant.
Did you see what they traded him for? That would have been a better trade.
And now Brooks and Green is fine. And now you're telling me
Jabari Smith would have been so much better of a trade than Brooks
and Green. Is he the 10th? But no.
Don't you have Dylan Brooks ranked higher than Jabari Smith?
I haven't gotten that far. or down.
I'm not saying that the Rockets made or the Suns made a good trade. They were screwed in terms of leverage. But what you're telling me, you would trade the 10th best player in the world for Jabari Smith?
Yeah. Because they were screwed in terms of leverage.
That's ridiculous.
Listen,
all right, man. Yeah, sure, whatever.
If I'm trying to rebuild a good team around Devin Booker, I want someone who I think will pair nicely with Booker. And that player is a versatile defensive of 3 through 5, like someone who's going to do what Jabari Smith Jr. does as well, and who is young.
What do you think Jabari Smith is, man? All right.
I think he's better than Jalen Green.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's true. Okay, whatever. I'm just saying there's some contradicting points on what you think about Kevin Durant.
I think he got a great contract. I think so my thoughts with Durant is what Durant does well is going to be so valued in Houston, and what Durant doesn't do well is going to be completely covered up by Houston. I mean, would you like there to be maybe a little bit better of a ball handler, like a true point guard, right in there to set the team up? Sure, but Durant seems to have just like the world's largest opposition to playing with a true point guard. I don't know if it's PTSD flashbacks of playing with like Westbrook and Curry that he's like, no, I never want to play with a good point guard again.
Yeah.
Let me spend the rest of my career with Kyrie Irving, and we'll see if Bradley Beal can run the point because I don't want to play with another point guard. Yeah.
He just doesn't really like to play off ball. Like that was like a lot of the issue in Phoenix is he wants to do like his ISO dribble, get to a mid-range pull-up that he makes 50% of the time. And so there's still enormous value in making that shot, but it's not as great as if he were the off-ball player that Steph Curry or Tyrese Halliburton or some of these other guys are.
And I kind of expect Houston to play some just huge lineups at times. Like
they're gonna have to.
Well, can they play Adam Şengün, Jabari Smith, with Kevin Durant, and then Fred VanVleet, where like Durant is effectively the shooting guard in this lineup? Sure. And then those 50% shots become 50% shots with like a 25% chance of an offensive rebound. And so, you're
probably
getting the Kobe assist. Yeah, like
it's probably higher than that when Steven Adams is on the floor.
What if it's Adams and Capella and they're just like going ham trying to get rebounds?
You lost me there, but
Clint Capella.
But Şengün and Adams.
Şengün, Capella, and Adams? Just triple bigs?
Go get the boards.
Steven Adams offensively rebounds 19% of his team's misses, and his team gets 26% of their own misses when he's on the floor.
Could we add up Capella, Şengün, and Adams numbers and say like, is there a hypothetical where they get 100% of their misses? Like you had all their percentages up, and the Rockets will just never lose possession until they score.
That's a great point. Because Kevin Durant is just gonna ISO pull up mid range. Like, why do you need spacing for that anyway? You can have those three guys standing around the paint, boxing out. If he misses, which he only does 40% of the time, they'll get the rebound and give it back to him. We've got a new style of basketball that's just been developed.
Let me call Ime Udoka. I think we need to have a conversation about this.
Can we call Kyle Kuzma? He's got the wacky wave, the inflatable man. That's going to get some offensive rebounds. He's just got to wheel that guy out there, right?
You reverse the polarity of the air compressor, and so when it's defensively, it's blowing out, and then when it gets to offense, whenever there's an offensive rebound, Kyle Kuzma with his elite awareness and response times quickly flicks that back, and then the air starts sucking in through the wacky wave and inflated blind flailing tube man's hand, and he grabs the offensive rebound.
Absolutely.
This is a complex bit, guys. This is a multi-layered. Yeah, you'd have to really listen to this podcast with some attention to detail to be tracking at this point.
Aaron, we're only here for deep cuts. I don't know what you're talking about. Next up, we have Anthony Davis. You want to give us your Anthony Davis spiel, Mr. Highman, Aaron?
Why does Dylan hate Anthony Davis? Well, I guess because he's injured all the time, and he has been healthy since 2018.
And he's overrated on both ends of the floor.
And Dylan has never had anything bigger any bigger vendetta than against often injured players. That is truly Dylan's great great enemy.
But it works every time. And that's what kind of sucks, is like he's right about it each time. And it's like, oh, man.
But yeah, Dylan, didn't you see the first half of that game against Houston where they were just insanely good, except for they had their worst shot quality of the season?
Yeah, if they can play as hard as they possibly can in every regular season game and also get really lucky on jump shots, then Anthony Davis can be top 10.
Okay, I still like Anthony Davis because, I mean, maybe he's overrated, like on both ends, but he's still very good on both ends. Like he still is an all NBA caliber offensive player and an all defensive caliber defensive player.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I floated with having him lower, and then at one point I was like, he's still like an above average defensive player and scores like 25 points on over 60% true shooting. Like maybe I'm overthinking this a little bit.
I'll say he's very good defensive. I mean, I don't think he's just above average. Like he is still like, I would describe him as an elite defensive. Like, he still grades out in that way. I get it. Yeah, he's probably gonna miss 30 games, but he owns the defensive glass. You can't guard him around the basket, and he should anchor a pretty good defense.
Also, he's going to be the guy in the most touches for Dallas. So if there is a case to say that his scoring is going to maybe not improve, but increase, it's him or D'Lo.
I had a guy message me like, well, he posted one of my videos on his story, and it was like, look at this fucking dipshit. And I was just like, and I was like, all right, like, okay. It was me basically saying, like, take Anthony Davis out of your top 5 power forwards of all time. Like, he doesn't belong there. He's hurt all the time. Like, we're comparing him to Charles Barkley, who that dude won MVP and then went head to head with MJ in the finals. Like, what's the conversation we're having? And I went back and forth with that guy. It's like my rule. Usually, it's like I won't respond to messages more than like 3 times. But this time, I was like, I'm just interested in what this guy has to say. Like, we're just gonna go back and forth in the DMs for a while. And he truly believed that Davis is the best power forward of all time. Like to his core. Like, had all
the best.
Better than Duncan, better than Garnett, better than Dirk, better than all of them.
Yeah, and not only is he overrated as a current player, but especially all time. Like the fact that he was top 75 and like he's never been like what was it, like one season where he was a top 3 player in the NBA and it's like so never been number 1.
Yeah, it is so interesting because I mean, if you dropped in 2015 and you're like, what do you think of Anthony Davis? He was Duncan, like he was Tim Duncan already, and that was the trajectory he was on. He was gonna have that. I mean, I remember like the GM polls, like who would you rather have? Like pick one player to start your team with. Like Davis was the pick. It was basically Davis or LeBron in his prime. Like, which one would you like? And the fact that he hasn't lived up to that, has been so injured, is obviously disappointing. But man, he is still very, very good, and he's in my top 15.
There's one thing that I really hate about like all-in-one advanced metrics, and it, like with any stat, there's always a player that can look really good in that stat because of something else, like the guy who averages 30 but just is a complete shot chucker and his team doesn't win. And so, like, if you're just looking at points per game, you're like, oh, yeah, this guy's good. All-in-one advanced stats still have, like, more variables, but it is possible to be that guy that is perfectly aligned with, like, enough of the variables that break in your favor, where you are doing the things that this advanced stat over appreciates or over indexes on. And, like, that's been a lot of what Anthony Davis is if you, like, dig into those advanced stats. He's very good at the things that certain advanced stats like over evaluate, like his PER or his box plus minus. It's because of his propensity to get a lot of stats in short amount of times that then get multiplied by per 100s. It's like there's a lot of stuff that makes Anthony Davis look like he is a god. And I think just thinking about what that guy must have said to you, Aaron, like yeah, I know some of these numbers. He grades out as like the 35th best player all time in the Matrix or something like that on just a stats perspective because of that. But using the awards, using writers poll, using the other things like pull him back down to earth. is why you should never just look at stats. I do like Davis. He's 12 on my board. I was the second highest on him. But yeah, me having Davis this high.
It's quite the legacy. It is it's a multifaceted battle with numbers, but who is
it's the next guy is actually a tie. But given that two of you have one guy higher and I have the other guy higher, I think we're gonna go with the guy that you have higher on the list. Just that 2-for-1 tiebreaker. Jalen Williams. Tell me, gentlemen, why is Jalen Williams better than LeBron James?
Because he's preposterously good defensively. I'll lead off with that. Had a 40-point finals game, obviously very capable offensively, but the Thunder went without Hartenstein and without Holmgren for a lot of last season during the regular season, and Williams is the best rim protecting wing in basketball. He is so versatile. He can guard guards, he can guard bigs by a lot. He is kind of, the Thunder are so good defensively that what he was doing almost got lost in that mix because just game breaking on that end and in a kind of a quiet way. But there are no other wings that defend the rim like he does, and that is the most important defensive trait.
I will say they were without Chet and Holmgren a lot, but they were only without them both at the same time for 2 different 5-game stints. And the first, the Thunder were not that great defensively. The Jalen Williams numbers were not that great. But the second time that both Chet and Hartenstein were out, the Jalen Williams 5-game defensive numbers are like looking at basketball Jesus on the defensive end. Just truly astounding. I would say that I still find LeBron to be a more consistent player, which has both positives and negatives. He's consistently less good defensively. That defense fluctuates a lot for LeBron. Consistently better offensively, but that was last year. If you want to tell me that Jalen Williams, what was he, 20 points per game, 22?
It's basically 22, 5, and 5 with all level defense.
Yeah. Gets more consistent offensively this year? Sure, I believe it. The first thought of him being 13th this year felt really high to me, but I don't hate it.
It is a developmental thing as well. I mean, would you rather have Williams on the upswing, clearly had a great playoff run, we're heading into his age 24 season, or 41-year-old LeBron? I mean, LeBron clearly is never going to be a bad player. That cliff is never going to happen. He's going to play until he's 45. But you're right, the consistency about it. And the numbers are interesting. LeBron does not push good offenses like he used to. Even though the box score seems to be the same, the impact isn't there like it used to be. And he actually graded out as a fairly decent defensive player last year. But I've heard a lot about the Minnesota series where LeBron was playing good defense, but you have to get to that. Can you be a good defensive player all the time throughout an 82 game season? And Williams is 5 times as good.
Yeah, Jalen Williams is going to do it for 2,000 minutes in the regular season, not just for the 100 minutes that LeBron plays before getting beaten in the first round of the playoffs.
And to be fair,
LeBron's body Jalen Williams played
trying to do that. He got injured playing defense for 4 games.
Jalen Williams played 2,200 minutes. LeBron James played 2,400 minutes this past year.
No. We're saying LeBron only plays good defense for.
I'm saying defensively. LeBron played 100 possessions of good defense. Jalen Williams played 2,000 minutes of good defense. It's do you want washed LeBron defensively or do you want prime LeBron defensively? With Jalen Williams, I've got prime LeBron's defense, and I'm expecting some the one downside to his offense is
improvement offensely.
Yeah,
this is going to be great for TikTok, guys. I'll be honest, because the Banchero Jalen Williams thing got pretty heated, and they're 30 spots apart.
Can you imagine how much they're going to hate Jalen Williams over LeBron?
No, that's going to be tough, guys.
One of the worst defensive.
Don't do this to you. You did this to you.
Versus one of the best. similar level of offensive ability. LeBron's still a better passer. Jalen Williams probably this year will be a more efficient scorer, I would expect.
And
And
he's
also
below league average true shooting.
Like I say, I'd expect some bounce back. He had a down year by his scoring standards, his efficiency standards last year as his usage went up. But he's coming into his fourth season, so I'd expect him to make improvements, unlike LeBron James, who will continue to regress as a offensive player.
Fair enough. For the sake of time, I'm going to keep us moving, but I want to offer you guys a brief respite, a chance to change your rankings.
Interesting.
We've got a tie coming up right now, and if we remain consistent with your two agreements, we will have Kawhi Leonard over Cade Cunningham. And I would love to suggest that for very similar reasons, we err with the younger guy, the guy who's actually going to play games, the guy whose knee is not constantly exploded, Dylan.
The difference between the difference though is that Kawhi Leonard still has the ability to elevate a team beyond what LeBron James can.
He played 37 games.
But when he's out there, it is like really crazy. He's so impactful on
Kawhi when he's on the floor is more impactful than LeBron is, or than Cade is. And yes, you wouldn't expect it to happen that often, but the expected value from those few games still exceeds what some other guys are going to give me. And the peak is still a lot higher, especially when it comes to the playoffs. If I have a 20% chance of healthy Kawhi in a playoff series, then I've got a puncher's chance of winning that series. I've got a guy who can be the best player on the floor in any given series. I would rather have that over the an 80% chance that Cade's going to be healthy and is going to be the third best player.
This is tough. I feel less strong. Obviously, I had what did I do? I had them right next to each other. I guess I did the same thing for Jalen Williams and LeBron.
Yeah. Aaron, this is your chance. Just do a little flip-flop. Just do a little flip-flop.
The difference is that Jalen Williams is so much more of an impactful player than Cade Cunningham is, and Kawhi is so much better than LeBron is.
The difference is that Kawhi is closer to Joel Embiid health-wise than he is to LeBron health-wise. Like LeBron, you at least know will be on the court, except for his 2-week hiatus.
If I get to the playoffs and I've got healthy LeBron, healthy Cade, and healthy Kawhi, there's one of those guys who can raise his team's floor and ceiling to a level where they can win a playoff series.
That's if you get there. You gotta get there.
And that's why I've got Kawhi at 12 and not at 6, because I don't necessarily expect that.
It is interesting because Dylan's very no injured players and Embiid's 45th. And he just loves Kawhi Leonard. Year after year.
The difference is
I set it up with Anthony Davis here.
Yeah.
The difference there is that when Kawhi is healthy, he's so much better than what I expect Joel Embiid or Anthony Davis to be.
I kind of disagree with that. I had Embiid above where did I have Embiid? 7?
You had him top 10, yeah.
Yeah. I think Embiid is phenomenal when he's healthy.
I also had Embiid 10, 11-ish, and then I was listening to the Athletic podcast, and they had the ball guy on there, and he's talking as the 76ers fan. He's like, my high upside for this season is that we get 45, 50 healthy games from Embiid. And I'm like, man, if that's your high upside, I gotta move this guy down. That's what you're hoping for is can you give us 50 games?
I'm gonna leave my ranking as it is. I think I had Kawhi over Cade heading into this, and I'm not gonna change it.
Listen, ye of little faith will not get to celebrate with us when the Pistons are, hoisting the Larry O'Brien in the next 5 years.
I hope so. Cade did take a big step forward, from a pretty good guard on a terrible team to a real, very good offensive engine. His shooting improved, his touch around the rim improved, his playmaking and passing improved.
Yeah, 15 for Cade feels really high.
Won't be high enough. I'm just saying this. Listen,
where did you have him?
You guys,
I'm saying I had him at 15.
Okay, I was the low guy on Cade. That's interesting.
Yeah, Cade is our number 15 then. Kawhi is our number 14. And this would be our all-NBA selections. Jokic, Shea, Victor, Giannis, Luka, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jalen Williams, Kawhi Leonard, and Cade Cunningham, provided the season ended today and we're perfectly right. So,
maybe we will be.
Which is normally the case.
Yeah, which is normally the case.
Anytime we're wrong, how could we have seen that coming? Unforeseen circumstances. Anytime we're right, we're geniuses. We were always ahead of the curve. We knew it was coming.
Absolutely. Number 16, Devin Booker.
I was so much higher on Booker than you guys. What's going on? I still see Booker as like an elite offensive player, like ridiculously good 3-level scorer. Is this a Phoenix bias? Is this the fact that the Suns are going to win 32 games?
It's a little bit there, and also the fact that he wasn't very good last year. Like, if we were grading him just on last season, he'd be probably even lower, but I'm expecting a little bit of a bounce back from him. But not so much they can put him a lot higher than this.
See, I was expecting an even worse season from him as the team is kind of reconstructed. Not that that hasn't happened the last several years, but like, I don't know. I feel like we always thought that Booker was a good shooter, and now he's at 33% on 7 attempts. I like the fact that he got 7 assists last year, but I don't know. Like, what I think part of the idea of the Durant, Booker, Beal trio was that Booker or Beal could run point, and while Booker has developed as a passer, like, he's still not really a point guard, and his scoring seems to have regressed. So I'm now just kind of like, what are you, man?
I urge you not to read too much into this last Phoenix season. I think one of the worst seasons.
What about the year before?
He was good the year before. Like, we had him heading into last season right around here. Like, I think they had like 14 last year, and it was just the season from hell. I think Durant is the kind of talent that can kind of like withstand that, and he kind of got like, he still looked really good, but he's also getting older, so I dropped him a bit. Like with Booker, like, I don't know if there's 10 players I'm taking over him offensively. I still think he's like in that conversation.
My biggest knockback to that, Nate's gonna count, is you say that he was his down season was a product of the terrible vibes in Phoenix.
It's Bradley Beal's fault.
Well, I'm saying I'm holding him partially responsible for that. I'm saying he's dropping down because he allowed a team, which was his team. He was the best player, the franchise guy. He let his team become so bad in the locker room that they won like 10 games less than
the basketball Grim Reaper came to visit. Kevin Durant got traded to his team. What was he supposed to do? Like, his team's going to lose all of his assets. They're going to be a dumpster fire by the All-Star break. I mean, come on, guys. Like, the Rockets will go through the same thing in a season or two.
Do you remember when Mike Budenholzer told him that he needs to shut up in huddles?
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that.
That's what I want.
He said in a post-game press conference that Devin Booker needs to like talk less in the team huddles.
Now, is that like an indictment on Budenholzer for telling his star player not to be involved?
Hey, who has a championship ring and who doesn't?
It's both.
That's true.
But I do love that Devin Booker's just like so annoying that his coach came out in the press conference was like, this guy needs to shut the fuck up when I'm like when we're trying to talk to the team.
All right. Number 17 on our list. Dylan, talk to us about Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley is the third best defensive player in the NBA. He, unlike the top two guys, he plays every single game, which is why he was my defensive player of the year. And he's also become like top 3 at his position as an offensive player. And not just a dependent offensive player, but a guy with real ball skills who can create for himself and create for his team and drives a team's offense. Yes, he is playing with other guys, such as the guy who we both had at number 9. But the team is still really good when that guy is not on the floor and Evan Mobley is on both ends of the floor. His offensive and defensive versatility to allow him to play both the 4 and the 5 is incredibly valuable from a team building perspective, just in that it lets you put whatever other players you need to complement the rest of the lineup around these other guys. But like, this is a guy who gives you such a high defensive floor and also such a high offensive floor. One of the best two-way players in the NBA, my defensive player of the year last year, and also an elite offensive player. Like, it's wild that he's this low.
And Nate, you want to go? Do you want to just eviscerate
this
ridiculous?
Yeah, Dylan, first off, you said he plays every game. I see 71 games played last season.
Oh wow, that's
what happened to every one of those games.
That's
okay.
That's 11 left.
Sorry, Nate lost. No, Nate's gonna start with the fact that he missed 11 games now.
we had.
I'm eviscerating Dylan, and that was the first point that he made, is that he plays every game.
We had Kevin Durant at number 10. Evan Mobley's defense clears Kevin Durant's offense, and Evan Mobley's offense well clears Kevin Durant's defense. We had Anthony Davis, number 12. Evan Mobley's a different tier of defensive player and a similar tier of offensive player.
I just disagree. And you mentioned earlier with Giannis, you said you preferred like higher level of offensive creation, so you went Luka over Giannis, and like I just don't think Evan Mobley is elite offensively. I think he's fine. He improved his shooting, and that was nice. But I mean, Darius Garland is phenomenal. Like Donovan Mitchell is phenomenal. Like, they have the best offensive backcourt in basketball. Like, that's where their good offense is coming from. Like, I don't see Mobley as that kind of creator. I like the upside swing. Jack had him, I think, 13th or something, and Jack texted me asking if I had Brunson or Mobley. I thought he was out of his fucking mind. But like, that is like where that conversation's heading. I think he's a very good defensive player, but like, I think he's like slightly above average offensively.
Yeah, I'm also not as big a fan of his defense, and it's because when you watch Cleveland play, and you can do this, you can go game by game by game through the on-off of numbers. Cleveland starts with the double big lineup. They sub out Mobley. And then when the other team takes off their better 4 or 5, whoever's their like primary guy, so like Giannis for the Bucks, Jokic for the Nuggets, then they put Mobley back in. And yeah, Mobley plays a lot of his minutes with the scrubs defensively, but he still plays it with Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell as his like point guard, and then like, weaker defenders, but they also go up against a lot weaker offensive players. So like, the more Cavs game I watch and the more you recognize this pattern, the more I'm like, Jared Allen's the guy that they leave in there to defend when the other team has their best players in there. Mobley, yes, he's covering for Max Strus and Gorgie Dang.
Georges Niang.
Georges Niang.
His most common front court partner. And opponents shot 60% at the rim when Georges Niang and Evan Mobley were on the floor.
Okay. Cool. Do you want to stop Giannis from doing that, or it's like cool? Like, Giannis comes off the floor, Kyle Kuzma comes on, and you're like, oh my god, look at the defensive numbers against Kyle Kuzma.
I feel like I always kind of go bigger picture, like just broad strokes, and Nate is like, in this one specific game, like Mobley came off the floor, and like then it's like,
it's not
one of
one
us
game.
is too broad, and the other was too specific.
It's the reoccurring patterns. It's doing this game after game after game.
It is interesting that I was like, his offense isn't that good, and Nate says his defense isn't that good. Evan Mobley actually sucks. Like, he's not a good player. I understand that two things happened. He got injured in the playoffs, and they just demolished a Heat team. They didn't have to really take seriously, but he took 11 shots per game in the playoffs. Like, he isn't that engaged offensively. He's not that big of a part of it. He's super efficient, and that was really nice. 17 points tonight, 59% from the field, but still, like, I don't really consider him like a top end offensive player.
I kind of see him as like the next generation of Bam Adebayo, where it's like, oh my god, look at his defensively. He's got like good offensive skills. And then it's like, okay, is he ever going to actually carry the team? What happens when you start stripping guys away from him? And like, he looks good in a team context. Bam next to Jimmy, next to Goran Dragic. Like, that was a NBA Finals teams. Bam, Tyler Hero actually hitting and clicking, and Jimmy, that was a Finals team. as like you take those guys away from him, you're like, okay, he doesn't do enough offensively to carry an offensive load, and his defense is good. There's a lot of great Bam metrics, but like
you guys did have Bam way too high. I'll throw that out there.
I have them very close to each other.
Just by the way, 125 offensive rating with Mitchell and Garland both off when Evan Mobley's in. Like, I agree, he's not the number one offensive guy, but this is like a, Jalen Williams level of offensive player. Maybe not that high.
Really?
Okay.
No,
The next tier down, but also top tier defensively.
I mean, it was interesting. I mean, I don't think you could ever convince me that Mobley at 10 is reasonable, but like, I think the average where we've landed is about right.
I would like to point out,
which was where I put him, basically.
I'd like to point out because I had to pull this up, Dylan, to check you. You're talking about 165 minutes over the course of the year. 165 minutes, 3 minutes a game.
Goodness,
330 non-garbage time positions.
That's not bad.
And I'm not saying like this is like a hugely representative sample, but I'm saying you're trying to make the case that this is a below average offensive player when the team succeeds to incredible offensive heights whenever he's on the floor, no matter who he's with.
I will say that Mobley has like have you guys seen Mobley play in person?
No,
I wish.
That's a question for Nate.
Yeah, Dylan's like, I live in New Zealand.
I've seen Duop Reith play in person.
It's kind of Duop Reith like it's very similar. Mobley has the longest arms on earth. His legs are so preciously long. Like, he is horrifying to look at. Like, he just looks like he's gonna be the best player in basketball at some point. Like, he has the physical, like, ridiculous physical tools. So I'm a Mobley believer. I remember a couple years ago, I don't know if it was last season, probably the season prior to that, I said that I'd rather have Mobley as like a top 10 player 5 years from now, 5 years from then I wanted him within the top 50 at that point. So I still see like the trajectory, like we're getting there, but he still is developing.
I think he's going to become a Bam, where
that's so sad.
Really good.
I think he already clears Anthony Davis defensively, plays twice as many games, and is a similar level of offensive player.
That's fucking ridiculous. He's not close offensively. Davis is like 26 a night on great efficiency. He can't shoot, but it's fine. All right. Okay. That's a disagreement. That's a real disagreement.
So, speaking of disagreements, the largest disagreement we're going to have on this pod, the plan was to go to our top 24 guys, our projected all-stars if the world was perfect. And by that, I mean the NBA allowed there to be 20 all-stars from the West and 4 from the East. Is there something like that? But the guy that we've got our biggest disagreement on, Aaron, you've got him 7th. Dylan, you've got him 27th. I'm splitting the difference with 19. Joel Embiid. Aaron, what's going on? Is this reverse Dylan?
I'm ready to get hurt one more time. Put me out there, coach. I'm just saying, this is my last ride. Sometimes it's like, you got to know when you have a problem. And you're going, all right, one last time. I'll do this one last time. I can't get hurt again.
There's almost not a lot of point in really debating this, because it really just comes down to predicting a unpredictable thing. Like, we're just saying, like, how healthy is he going to be? My biggest reason that I have him a lot lower is that I don't expect him to be as good as he has been when he actually is healthy. But like, Aaron is expecting him to play a reasonable amount of games and be that 30-point per game scorer. I'm expecting him to play not that many games, be out of shape, continue to regress defensively, and then get hurt again, and Nate's somewhere in between.
Yeah, I'm at I think he's going to play incredibly hard. I loved the ESPN piece on him, and it really did paint the picture of a guy who wants to play and is working to play, and like, is truly as crushed as the fans are when he can't play. And to be fair, you play through cerebral palsy, that sucks. Like
Bell's palsy, different
Bell's
kind of
palsy.
palsy. Cerebral palsy would be fucking crazy.
Bell's palsy.
What an accomplishment!
Thank you for correcting in that thing. Like I want to believe in him, but at this point, when 76ers fans are like, if he can play 50 games, I'm like, oh my god, like if that's our starting point, like that's a rough hope. I do think that there's at least the case that this is one of the deepest, best 76ers teams, around him. Like there's a lot of guys I really like on this roster. Maybe that can take some of the workload off of him when he plays. He gets to be a little bit less mobile, gets to kind of protect the paint a bit more, not raise up the court because they go fast break with VJ and Maxey and try to score. And
he's never once raced up the court in his entire career.
By not race up the court, I mean not cross half court on an offensive possession.
He's been doing that his whole career.
Did I tell you guys about my stat idea? The DeMarcus?
Yeah.
The last player to cross half court.
Yeah, last player to cross half court.
I think it's Embiid and it's Luka. Are your top two?
Yeah.
I just can't quit it, guys. Like, I just can't walk away from this. The last time we saw him, I mean, he was unbelievable. In 2024, okay, forget about last year. He was completely injured, and he played 19 games. We had 39 games in 2024. Per 36, he was averaging 37 points a night. He was averaging more. He was scoring more than a point a minute. It was like the greatest per minute scoring we've ever seen. There's a 27 game stretch in that where he's averaging 37, 12, 6 with a steal and a half and 2 blocks on 55% shooting. The Sixers went 22-5 during that stretch. Like he looked like the best player in basketball. I still have to believe one more time. He's just been so good. I mean, he is the career all-time leader in per 100 and per 36 points per game. I can't give it up quite yet.
Aaron, are you do you have any friends with any substance abuse problems?
Do you have any friends with any substance?
There's one on the podcast. What are you talking about?
I don't not to the degree that I think you're going to make this analogy.
I have a good friend that had a substance abuse problem. At one point, he's like, "I'm gonna quit it cold turkey. I'm done." And then, of course, like a few weeks later, I mess up. You want to hang out? He's like, "I can't." And I'm like, "What's going on?" And he had not relapse, but like had another night on the substance. And so it was like, "Oh yeah." And what he learned was a healthy way to get off of it, which he's now hasn't done it in years, completely clean. Because he had to scale back. He couldn't just drop it cold turkey. I'm offering you the chance to not try to cut Embiid cold turkey. We're not asking you to do that. We're asking you to, cut it down. Instead of doing it every night, do it every other. Instead of doing, so many grams, cut it in half.
Here's the thing. Either he's healthy, and if he's healthy, I'm right, and he's in this top 10. Or he plays 15 games and his knees explode and he's 190th and then no one's right. And so the only person who's even ranked him that has a chance to be right is me.
No. We're offering you the chance to work yourself off the substance.
I'm not doing it.
Because you're not going cold turkey. We're not saying throw him out 190th. We're working you down.
I do look forward to him playing like 45 games and being pretty good. And the next year I'm like, I think I'm back in on a beat.
That's the other thing. The thing that substance abuse users will do is they're like, I'm done. You know what? That one wasn't that bad. We're back.
I think I could do this. I think I could be functional. I could hold a job down.
All right. We don't recommend any of this. Number 19, Karl Anthony Towns. How am I the high guy? Hang on.
That's disgusting. Karl Anthony Towns at 15. Get out of here. That's terrible. Can you change it? You should change it.
I did. I had it at 14, and I switched it because I was like, I gotta keep working Paolo Banchero up higher.
Because he can't defend the rim. He's horrendous. He's horrendous defensively.
You guys are so upset with defense these days.
All of his biggest offensive value comes that he's so skilled compared to other centers, except that you can't play him exclusively at center because he sucks so much on defense that you can't win games. And so you have to play him at the 4. Great. And compared to other wings, the difference in his offense compared to other wings isn't so dramatic. And so a lot of his offensive value gets muted by the fact that he sucks so bad defensively that you just can't win games if he's your center.
You just play him at the 5 all regular season long and figure it out when you get to the playoffs. This is one of the best offensive centers in league history.
He's played in 50 playoff games. How many of those did he accumulate 4 or more fouls?
How many games did you say you played in?
50.
47?
That's insane, Dylan.
Did he get 4 or more?
Yeah, 4 or more.
Like 28.
It's 34. 34.
I'm sad that there's no
time.
I'm sad that there's no way that's broken down by offensive, because if you ask me how many of those were offensive fouls and like put the line at 1.5, I'd have to consider the over.
He's led the league in offensive fouls, I think, 4 times now. He led it last season. And so that does hurt his offensive impact. Like, the shooting is really nice, but Dylan had a great point. Where it's like, compared to Tatum, who's not playing this season, but like who is a power forward just like he is, like the offense isn't that great. And like in Towns that can't defend the rim, I thought I was like generous at 20. Dylan had him back at 23. 15 is like just, oh my fucking Lord.
This is an all NBA player.
Last season, but like we start with a fresh slate. Like the all NBA, like the 65 game limit is such a big part of that. Like I wouldn't have Towns.
The thing, Towns is going to play the games. We got a lot of guys above him that won't. And that 3-point shooting for the center position is incredible. I mean, Towns 42%.
Sorry.
And from 3? No, you go.
You were literally in the middle of a sentence. I just started talking. It's very much your turn.
I mean, my sentence was just saying that his 3-point shooting at that center position is huge. And like, while he is not a rim protector, he does do a good job on the boards. He does crash. This is not like Jaren Jackson Jr., who will swing at a block, either get the block, follow the guy, or give up the offensive rebound. Like, the idea that you might convince a guy to miss, or he adjusts his shot and misses. If you don't get the board, like it only has so much value. And Cat, we know he's defensively limited. This is why he is not a top 10 player. Will never crack the top 10. But his ability to stretch opens up the floor so much for the rest of his team.
And I'll say that he's participated in 2 like back-to-back conference finals appearances now. Like he can be on winning teams, and I feel like this last Knicks run he looked more assertive than ever. He looked more comfortable than ever, and it always does feel like he's in previous years has been kind of like just not comfortable in his own skin. I guess like he's kind of gangly and he seems uncoordinated, but he had made assertive decisions and had a nice conference finals too, like 20 and 10.
And he's probably should never be your number 1 guy. And I think that was hard for him to get over in Minnesota because he was the number 1 guy there for so long. That when Anthony Edwards kind of rose up, it was definitely an awkward transition from being, the number 1 pick, the number 1 guy, to like, oh no, this is what a number 1 guy looks like. And when he gets to New York, he's back home. It's a more comfortable environment. He's coming into a team that is very clearly Jalen Brunson's. So it's easier to fit in as opposed to his circumstances in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number 20, Paolo Banchero. And I want to discuss 20 and 21 together because you two are ridiculous with 21 and being Franz Wagner. Paolo is clearly the better Magic.
That's insanity. That's just, I mean, that's truly ridiculous. Franz Wagner.
Every time they're on the court together.
And they're making a mistake in doing that. They're running their offense to the wrong guy. Like Banchero is obsessed with step back 2-pointers. Like he does not generate good offense. He is like somebody that would get to the rim effortlessly and should draw a ton of free throws and like puts a ton of pressure on defenses, and he just doesn't. Now I'll say there is like a tough shot making element that makes him look good in the playoffs that I do really like about. And of course I think he's young and he's going to get better, but the way Franz gets downhill and actually puts pressure on the rim and finds open teammates to a degree that Paolo does not come close to.
Yeah.
And he's so much better defensively. Franz is legitimately good defensively.
Magic with Paolo on the 110 offensive rating, which is abysmal, and about the same when he's off. Magic with Franz on 114 offensive rating, still not very good, but +7. And so I think that speaks to the exact point that Aaron's making, which is also my reason that I have him, although only one spot higher. Like, this isn't a huge thing. But Paolo is the better, I suppose, scorer, whereas Franz, I think, as a playmaker, is at a different level. And the big thing for Franz is, even having him this high, is it's a bit on his 3-point shooting, where he had 2 seasons of being a decent 3-point shooter and 2 seasons of being like Nate's like clicking hard as shit right now. Had 2 seasons of being really bad. I thought you were trying to send me a message. You're saying, like, no, yes, 2 spots apart. But yeah, it's a bit on Franz of 3-point shooting. If he can get back to shooting in the mid-30s, then he's this level of player, which is what I'm making a bid on. If he's shooting at 29% again, then maybe he's not quite this good.
You want to talk about how Franz has a better on-off, better net ratings? You want to talk about some playoff numbers? Franz is without Paolo Banchero. Net rating of -37 per 100 possessions. All right.
Who did they play?
Doesn't matter. -37. Okay. Paolo without Franz, -16. Still bad. 20 points better.
I just don't give a shit that they played Boston and got obliterated. Like, I'm not looking at the on-off splits for that series. It just does not matter. The sample size is so small. They were like it was a fun series to watch, but like Orlando's never gonna win that. I'm honestly disgusted. That's like me and Dylan were ranked Franz and Paolo perfectly, but Nate was out of his mind on Paolo to the point where now our ranking's wrong.
Listen, Franz is hot garbage. He will never win anything.
Oh my god.
Franz is an absolute loser.
This is a Michigan thing? Yeah.
You want to know? You want to know what's going to happen?
Yeah, you got it.
Franz ever is in a big playoff game? Aaron, you know exactly what he's going to do. He's either going to call a timeout that they don't have, or he's going to miss a bajillion free throws. Franz falls apart in the playoffs like all University of Michigan guys have ever done.
I can't believe this Michigan. And I have to go. I went to post this shit on TikTok and have Banchero above Franz, and I just objectively disagree with that.
Yeah, thank God they at least drafted Jace Richardson so that they can have a modicum of a chance of being a decent team.
I made an adjustment.
You son of a bitch! What did you do?
I just left them. I just moved the columns with the rows.
That's not how this works. That's not how Excel works.
You can just
I fixed it.
I thought you were like gonna change your Paolo ranking, and it'd be like, all right, he's now 39 instead of Jaren Jackson Jr. or something stupid like that.
There you go.
No.
Fixed it.
Listen, I think we all know who is the best Orlando Magic player, and it's neither of these guys. It's Jalen Suggs. Both Paolo and Franz were able to go out with massive injuries in this past year, and Magic were fine because their defense kept them going. And then Suggs goes down, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose, and they fall apart.
But I can't tell, is this an actual argument, or are you continuing to do a bit?
No, that's an actual argument.
Nate, I cannot believe you had like Paolo Banchero like above all these good players.
I am 100% bought in on Paolo. You know how Paolo started this last year before he got injured?
His the
like it's
yeah.
It's a shitty 4-game sample size where he like shows up and drops a 50 piece, so that it's going to skew your numbers. But like Paolo was fantastic to start this year, and then goes down and takes a while to come back from it, and then has a significantly better playoffs than Franz, which is a repeat of last year when they went up against Cleveland, and Franz was just freaking in witness protection program for being absolutely missing in action in the prior year. Franz crumbles. No,
I do think that the consensus is that Banchero is like close to a top 10 player and Franz is closer to a top 30 player. So the fact that we kind of meet in the middle there, it makes me happy and I'll be able to sleep tonight.
It shows that our list is perfect.
Yeah, no, our list is perfect.
We're the Elon Musk America party of podcasts, you could say. You know, people are going too wild on both sides. We're here to bring some logic by being by meeting perfectly in the middle.
We're just gonna bring
If I could pay Draymond Green to go to Orlando Magic practices until he has a Jordan Poole moment with Franz, I would.
Okay, so this is like a Franz hate thing. This has nothing to do with basketball, and I feel like I know. Looking at your rankings, I feel like it played out that Franz was above Banchero, and then you're like, I can't fucking do that. And just adjusted the number until the average is low enough. You don't think he's gonna be 14th. You just wanted this for average.
So I did make some changes last minute, lowering in Joel Embiid, which does move up Paolo and Cade. But I also did make some switches to raise Paolo and Cade specifically because of what we discussed kind of at the start of the pod.
It's like ranking gerrymandering, man. This is fucked.
Well, I did want to.
Nate is cheating. We've got to burn this whole list. Nate is being dishonest.
So I didn't finish that sentence. I do want to bet on the young guys, and that was something that I intentionally went with. Of who do I think is going to take a leap here, and my bets were on Cade and Paolo to kind of make that next star leap.
All right, I'll quit complaining about it.
All right, number 22, Chet Holmgren.
I can't believe you had Chet Holmgren at 27.
Yeah, it does feel low.
It is low. Well, okay, a couple of things. One, very raw offensively. Like, really struggled to shoot the ball throughout the playoffs. Like, still, no one believes in Chet's handle more than Chet does. Like, he is number one in lost ball turnovers while dribbling. I still like the offensive upside, given his frame and his skill, on top of just being one of the three best defensive players. Like, he is crushingly good at defending the rim. He's a strong rebounder as well. His hands are really good. I mean, he truly dominated in the last finals game. It was 5 blocks and just was everywhere. And I really love, I think he's an all NBA caliber guy.
Yeah, agreed. He's top probably 2 defensive player and also a positive offensive player. And I think maybe we've the lesson that I learned from these 2 teams that made the NBA finals is there's and the one that made the finals before that is there's incredible value in having a center who can space the floor and also defend the rim between the Boston Celtics, between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, having a big man who can do that there's like what is the word? Like, there's value that adds together beyond what the individual value is.
I believe what you're looking for in the corporate world is called synergy.
There's synergy.
And
even like Brook Lopez with the Bucks, or could you count just Draymond count in 2022? Not really.
Yeah. You know, the thing that I was really kind of struggling with Chet was just like, what do I think his offense is going to be? Because his defense is absolutely A+. Yeah, I mean, that's calling water wet or something. Like Chet is just very good defensively. Offensively, like, it's nice that he can shoot from outside, and it's nice that he can play make a little.
I think it's more than that. I think it's transformative for a team's offense to have that.
Okay, sure, it is transformative for the team, but what is his values? What is his skill set? And, like, you know, one of the things I always try to do with this is like vacuum test it, put him on a different team, put him, you know, kind of devoid of circumstance. So you got to both consider circumstance and the non-circumstance in my mind, and of if he's with random guys, what does it look like? And my answer was, I don't think he's going to be able to carry much of an offensive load. I don't think he's in the same stratosphere as someone who we would get compared to a lot, Chet or Victor Wembanyama offensively. Like, these are just
really
hugely different in levels of players offensively.
Like Wemby's a number 1 and Chet's a number 3.
Yeah. And then his defense, we raved about how good OKC's defense was without him. He is on a team that has every possible defensive combination to make his life easier. So when he has some of the best rim protection numbers in the league, I am impressed. But I think if you were to put him into another team situation, he's no longer as transformative. He's no longer as impactful. And so that did kind of affect my rankings. Also, the health. Man has missed his entire rookie season. He then played 82 games, and now he's missed 32. And I get weird Zydrunas Ilgauskas flashbacks of playing in. Aaron, do you remember the numbers? He plays one full 82 game season, and the rest of his 4 years, 4 of his first 5, he plays 30 games.
It's honestly pretty insane. I think Ilgauskas plays in basically 100 games over his first 5 years, and he's 7'4", 260, and then plays until he's 36. I don't know whose bones he stole to manage to stay healthy, but I actually kind of disagree with the transformative defensive aspect. I think Chet could make the Hornets a good defensive team.
Yeah, I think if you drop Chet onto the Hornets, they're top 10 defense.
I agree.
He's the second best player in the league at doing the most impactful defensive thing.
Guys, defensive usage it doesn't work like that.
I think he could do that. He's like a Gobert level defensive player.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work with perimeter players. That's why defensive player of the year Marcus Smart doesn't make sense, because a single perimeter player can't have that impact. But a center defends all 5 players at the same time, and so he can have that impact. If you become, by dropping this one player, elite at rim protection and at rebounding, that does transform your entire defense.
If you put Chet on the Hornets, he's gonna die. There's gonna be do you
reckon it, not to mention he'd be fined for trying to wear his do-rag on the court.
Yeah, that's gonna be just awkward all around. But no, Brandon Miller's just gonna fall asleep guarding LeBron. He's gonna cut baseline. He's gonna yam it on Chet's head so many times in a row that Chet's gonna get a concussion of the ball going through the rim and spiking on his face.
I just want to clarify that's a reference to an actual meme that sounds racist if you don't know the context.
Yeah, that's fair.
What was the meme?
Hey, it's like the Chet and the do-rag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I honestly thought he does wear that.
Yeah, I feel like we.
Despite being born in Minnesota and going to a private school and living in a all-white neighborhood.
If you don't know the context, that sounds worse.
So I feel like the third or 20 through 30, all of these guys are the guys that one of us has an impassioned feeling for, and the rest of us are eh. Just looking at our 23 and 24, we have Jaylen Brown and Alperen Sengun, and Brown is 22nd on my board, 25th on Dylan's, and 29th on Aaron's. My pro Brown case is I think Brown is going to just have an all-time usage pitch for this season. The team around him is incredible shooters. And so the fact that he's got the weak left hand, which is a bit overstated, but you're going to have a lot of space for him to work or playing in lineups that are White, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, him, and I don't even know who is going to play center for Boston this year, but
Luka Garza.
I'm kind of afraid of the Brown ranking. He seems like a player this. Where are these cats coming from? It seems the roster is terrible if they lose, and if things kind of go off the rails for a bit, Brown could just get shut down. Nate's not even here. We could say whatever we want about Jaylen Brown. Not efficient, doesn't push good offense, not that good defensively.
Yeah, overrated defensively, not a great playmaker.
Not a great playmaker.
But
what I like about Jaylen Brown, but what I like about Jaylen Brown is I have nothing to add to that bit. I can't believe that you said that Brown's left hand was overstated. He killed Jason Tatum because he can't dribble with his left hand. They literally tried to go left, cough the ball up, and Tatum blew his Achilles out trying to recover that ball.
Wow, the curse of Jaylen Brown's left hand. I think as much as
are we sure that wasn't
said,
intentional?
as much as come on, man. As much as we've said a lot of negative things about Jaylen Brown, the fact that he's like clearly a secondary offensive creator, and like a good but not ultra impactful defensive player, like the fifth best defensive player on his team. The fact that he has a history of being a playoff riser, I think, encouraged me to put him into this range. The fact that like looking at some of these other guys that I had below him, although I think they're probably a lot of bit offensive players. If I'm talking about a playoff series, I like Jaylen Brown's track record better than some of the guys I had below him.
I think just when the season's done, we're going to look back at this and say, like, yeah, Jaylen Brown, about the 20th best player. Maybe not the sexiest call, not the sexiest pick here, but I don't know. It feels very stable and very dependable as far as like guys that
like he'll give you a nice an inefficient 27 points per night on the 16th best offense in the league, and some good defense.
It does make me nervous because, well, I agree with the playoff rising. Like Brown throughout his career averages more points per game on better efficiency in the playoffs, which is pretty astounding. Like very few players actually do that. The Celtics aren't going to see a playoff series this year. We're not going to get to that point, and so I am just kind of low on him as a regular season engine. But I like where we have him. I think it's reasonable.
Yeah. Then number 24, our last potential All-Star, if we get everything right and the NBA would allow us to have everything right for the All-Star teams, is Alperen Şengün. Dylan, you're the high man here. Very high. 20th. Aaron and I have him 28 and 29th.
I think he's a legitimately good offensive engine, both as a creator for himself and a player that his teammates can play around and play off of, and then has also become a positive defensive player. And so there are other guys who I have much lower who have this similar level of offensive role on their team. But I think Şengün is a legitimately good defensive player, unlike the likes of them.
We're really fortunate that we're not. What has happened to our rankings? We're really fortunate that we're not arguing about the placement again, because I noticed you had Sabonis at 54, and
like I said, Sabonis is a terrible defender, and Şengün is a positive defender. There's a big difference.
I wish that was
makes a big difference.
That's not true. Sabonis is graded out as a fairly positive defender. He's a better rim protector than likes of Cat. He's better defensively than Vucevic or Jokic, who are identical defensively.
Yeah, he's the fourth worst defensive center.
But this is a side tangent. I will transition this into Şengün, I promise. I'll just talk about Şengün. We'll save Sabonis. I like Şengün's assertiveness offensively. He seems very comfortable. He's very good in the post. He's a strong rebounder. He makes good passes, and his defense has improved. And I liked how he played against Golden State. Tough 7-game series, averaged 20, 12, and 5. Like I think he is like that kind of player. And him and Durant, I mean, it should be pretty exciting, honestly.
That's the reason why I had him a little bit higher than Sabonis. But in my mind, they are very similar players. Sabonis is a much more efficient offensive player. Not to make this a Sabonis
beyond
versus.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're looking at Şengün's true shooting added over the course of this past season, it's negative.
It's true shooting taken away.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now I will say the interplay between him and Durant could be really interesting. Not to spoil a game that I still need to clip up, I just finished watching Klay Thompson's 60 piece. While I was watching that, it's the 11 rebound game. It's a 50 something rebound game. It's 11 rebound or 11. I can't talk anymore. The 11 dribble game. It's a 50 dribble game. But I was also watching Durant and how he moved and could he play around. And some of the interplay between Durant and Zaza Pachulia is not something I would have expected to be as good, kind of going back and rewatching it. But like Zaza passing out of the center and everyone moving around him, it worked. And I was like, damn, if this is the only game I watched from them, I would think Zaza is one of the big five, if because of how impactful he was with the offense. And now you're going to put him with a guy who actually can pass from the center position, who he can cut around, who he can play off of. I think Şengün could have a really high assist season and a really effective assist season that drives incredibly good offense, just that two-man action with him and Durant. So, if he continues to improve offensively, and maybe that his passing to Durant will just open up the floor for him more offensively, I don't hate it this high, but does feel a bit high for me.
The scoring efficiency you really hope to see improve. At this point, like Sabonis is a better scorer, rebounder, and passer, indisputably, inarguably. And I wanted to see Dylan try that right now. No, but
well, you see, even though he shoots a higher field goal percentage and more of his shots actually do go in, what you fail to... No, I'm kidding.
Nah, honestly, I'll make the argument for a second. Like when Şengün has the basketball at between the free throw line and the 3-point, like that distance, like he is a threat to do something. I think Sabonis leads the league in time spent within the 3-point line, not looking at the basket. Like he's not even like facing that direction, and there's no chance he's going to pull up anything. Well, I will say he did take, I think, like a little over 2 threes per game last year, and then hit like 42% of them. So there's something going on. But yeah, I get the offensive pressure difference. Yeah, I'll leave it there.
I will say the one thing that he has done very well, that Sabonis has done iffy well, is being able to play well enough offensive position that you can play him next to another center. For two guys that both struggle with rim protection, and as the 5-man, Sabonis or Şengün's offense, and that being able to score between the 16 feet and the 3-point line has allowed him to play with Steven Adams, which does have a lot of positives in a way that Sabonis, he was able to play with Miles Turner, and that's a unique situation to have a rim protecting 3-point shooter.
Genuinely, though, I think the Kings can do that. Like that was something that was called on a lot throughout the season. Was like, can we do Valanciunas, Sabonis lineups? Like, is that viable? Turns out you can't play two guys that slow in 2025. But at the same time, like every other team has this like too big thing that worked in this past season, and the Kings never really went to that, despite I think Sabonis being something that could work for. But really quickly, I was just looking at this. I can't believe, Nate, you had Trae at 20.
I still believe in Trae.
I have 42. It's like that is the biggest difference so far.
The thing I will also say to Trae, his point, although this is 2 hours long, maybe I shouldn't say it. Yeah, we'll save it for next time.
No, just keep going. We're already at this point. What does it matter?
Yeah, the thing I'll say for Trae Young is before Jalen Johnson got hurt, Trae Young was at a record high. It was like double his previous career high in like ball screen set, where he was screening for the big man, which is something, something that we clamored for Westbrook to do for years. Like, hey, if Westbrook screens for LeBron, that would be huge. If Westbrook could screen for Durant, if Westbrook could like screen for Paul George, if Westbrook brings his man into the action and then screens for a big wing, like that could be really impactful. And it's kind of the first time that Trae has been with a good offensive coach and Quinn Snyder that, tried to do something different with him. And it added off-ball value to him. It made him a guy that wasn't just waiting to get the ball back. And then Johnson went down and the thing kind of fell apart. But I think there is a way to make it a defense good enough around Clay or around Trae that it you can really appreciate his offense. And if he finds ways to contribute off ball, which was what we saw him do last year, top 20 sounds really reasonable to me.
Genuinely. And Nate, I love you.
This is going to be so mean.
Trae Young is the worst defensive player in basketball. and straight up fucking quit in the play-in game last year. Like got ejected and quit towards the end. And you're talking to me about ball screens?
Yeah.
I can't even fathom that. I can't even begin to go there. He was so bad in that first half. Better in the second, got them like it was feisty. They get blown out in the fourth quarter, but like he literally gave up after with a playoff shot on the line. And you're talking about on ball screens. I don't want Trae Young doing setting screens. Like, that sounds terrible. I don't want him to do that. It's just like not a skill I want Trae Young to have.
So you want him to just stand like
cut around, move around,
high elbow,
not be 5'11", and then play some defense. It's tough. It's tricky.
I like finding ways to make a positive impact when you're not the guy that has the ball in your hands. I feel like that's unequivocally a good thing.
That's like one of the Warriors' pet plays is having Steph set the screen, because if he's setting the screen, then both players have to follow him. But anyway, Trae Young isn't even our next guy.
No,
we hit 2 hours, Nate. Do we want to?
Yeah, we're at 24.
We have one last night, don't we? Are we stopping at
24? No, Şengün was 24.
All right.
Yes. Oh, sorry. We could do 25 if that was.
Might as well.
That was kind of the plan. Number 25, De'Aaron Fox, who somehow I graded out higher than Aaron on, and my high grade is just he's going to be lobbing the ball to Victor Wembanyama.
He's not on my team anymore. I don't have to.
He's good. I know he's coming off of an injury, but like, I don't know. This is going to be the most open the paint has ever been. Instead of having 3 guys who like to score from the mid-range or low post in him, DeMar DeRozan, and Sabonis, he's now going to have like an open lane to the basket with having a 7'4" guy that can clean up misses, catch lobs, or space to 3. Like, I don't know. This just sounds like an almost dream scenario for an incredibly quick point guard.
He's not on my team. Don't have to defend him. What are the downsides here in Fox? One is his hamstring exploded during like summer workouts. He has like he has this tear. So that's a problem. I think he actually had him like 20th, and I moved him back after hearing that. The other piece is like he really can't shoot. And I think that is something I'm still hanging on to his like 2024 season, where he took a huge step forward as a 3-point shooter. But in 17 games in San Antonio, shot just 27% from 3 on 5.5 attempts per game. He only shoots 75% from the line and also doesn't get to the line as much as you think someone who plays like he does would. I think we have him in the perfect spot. But those are the downsides that I finally get to say after years of defending him.
He doesn't get to the rim as much as someone with his play style you would think. Like he loves to take inefficient like floaters and pull up mid-range jumpers, which bring down his scoring efficiency.
Guys,
and I'm not gonna grade every player based on them being in the perfect situation for them. Like I'm gonna factor in, more
sure.
test.
It's the same of what I did with Chet. I get it, but guys. Do we think the fact that he didn't get to the rim a lot might have had to do something with the fact that the other team's rim protector didn't have to worry about him throwing a lob to Sabonis?
I don't know if I've ever seen Sabonis catch a lob.
Exactly. Exactly.
He has good hands. He has good hands. He's the best rebounder in basketball. But like,
my parents moved recently, and so we cleaned out my parents' basement. And in it, we found a poster board that I made for my dad when I was young. And it's a Go Lakers poster board, and there's a picture of Shaq dunking on Arvydas Sabonis. And my dad and I used to always joke about how, hey, we could probably slip 2 pieces of toilet paper underneath our Sabonis' shoes. Like, he's getting high off the ground this time. I don't think we could do that for his son. It's the same jumping as his like 35-year-old multiple blown out knee father. Like, just saying.
Here's what I'll say. Like, in terms of pure rim protection, yeah, like Sabonis has him in, like, he doesn't have the verticality, but he is fast, and he like is athletic. He's one of like the more mobile centers in the league. Like, he does have quick feet, but Yeah,
Sure,
what you
but if
really want to
you're-
be discussing around hour 2 of a podcast is Domantas Sabonis defensive metrics. All right, De'Aaron Fox is 25th. It's been a pleasure, guys.
Aaron, where can the people find you?
Possible Chairs on Twitter, Possible Chairs on TikTok. This podcast probably next week to keep this list moving along. And yeah, my Patreon for these lists and other rankings.
All right. Dylan, where can the people find you?
On Evan Mobley Island, everyone. It's not too late. There's plenty of beautiful real estate. Get in while you can.
Beachfront property?
It's an island so vast that everyone gets their own private beach.
Ah. You find
That's
me
how
here.
great Evan Mobley Island is.
You can find me here. You can find me here on TikTok, Nate_HoopsTemple. Also YouTube, same name. Email the show, hoopstemple@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
And just before we go, if anyone wants Nate, here's the full 1 through 25. Go ahead.
Oh, God, you bastard. Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor Wembanyama, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic at 5, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant at 10, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jalen Williams, Kawhi Leonard, Cade Cunningham, him at 15, Devin Booker, Evan Mobley, Joel Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, Paolo Banchero at 20, 21 Franz Wagner, Chet Holmgren, Jaylen Brown, Alperen Şengün, De'Aaron Fox. What a wonderful list that people could throw darts at for rankings.
It's perfect.
I do kind of like it.
Have a great week, folks.